In this video, we are going to find the top travelers by distance traveled by the travelers. Hello, this is Jagan from Growth Data. I am posting this video to share my knowledge in SQL with you. If this assists you in your interview preparation anyways, I will be happy. Welcome to the 8th video of our advanced SQL interview question series. We have different topics to cover and we will be continue with the table joins. This video will be tagged in advanced SQL 50 questions playlist, and the code we discuss in this video will be uploaded to the GitHub. The link for the GitHub page will be in the video description part. So these are the basic introductions. Now let's go to the data set and then we can talk about the question in detail. So we are given two tables here. One is the user table, the another one is the rights table. So the user table is like a dimension. It got the user ID and the username. So user ID is a unique identifier, and the rights table, it got the right ID, which is the unique identifier for each right, and we got the user who used that right and how much distance they went. So these are the two tables. If you want to connect between the tables, you can use the user ID. So user ID from the user table connects with, so the ID in the user table connects with the user ID in the rights table. If you see here, the name can be duplicated, but the ID is not. Okay, so given this data, they are asking us to report the distance traveled by each user. So if you see this, let's create the table first. Okay, if you see this data, let's align this based on the user. So we have 1, 2, 3, 7, 13, right? So we have 3 records for 7. You can align this, and we got 13 and 19. So if you see this, 19 got 2 records, so 19 got 2 records, 7 got 3 records. Okay, now let's take this user list, let's keep it here. So first is Alice, right? So Alice got a right here of distance 120 miles, and Bob got here one ride for 317 miles, and then Alice 3 is here, got 222 miles, and for Alice number 4 there is no rides. We go to 7. So Lee got 3 rides, 100, 120 and 230, so 450. And then Jonathan got 1 ride of 312, and then Elvis got 2 rides of 450 miles. So only thing is Alice don't have a pair, right? Okay, so let's comment this out if you want to run it again. So here we got all the users and their corresponding rights. So when you run this, the Alice don't have any right information. So the expected output is going to be, we have to display all the right users name. So we give the name and then how much distance they went, and you have to sort based on the travel distance, the descending order. So whoever went more, then you sort based on that travel distance. If there more than one user having the same distance, then you sort based on the name. So the travel distance in the descending order and the names in the ascending order. If you see Elvis 450 miles, so Lee is here 3 records 450, Bob only 1 317. So this is how you display the output. Okay, so first you start with the basic joins, how you connect between users and rights. We get select from users, say u, inner join rights are on the right dot user id equal to u dot id. right? You just connect the ID from the user table with the user ID in the rights table. So if you see this output, we have all the users. So Alice, this Alice is number 1 and this Alice is number 4 because the 4 don't have a right. So you have to give 0. If there is no right, then you give 0 for that user. If I run this, I need to have u dot user name, right? So it's user ID, right? Okay, ID and name. So name, u dot name, we give user ID also, u dot ID, u dot name, and in the rights we give r dot distance. So these are the 3 columns we need. If you run this, you can order based on the ID. Okay, order by ID. If you see this, we got Alice, Bob, Alex, Lee, Jonathan, and Elvis. And we have only one record per user. So we can aggregate the distance. So you can say sum of distance as total distance. Since we use aggregation function, you have to use the group by. Group by u dot id, u dot name. So we have one record for every user. So you have Alice, Bob, and everyone. But if you see the record, it's on the descending total distance in the descending order. So order by sum of the distance, or in this case number 3 descending, right? And if there is more than one user, then you have to make them as ascending. So you can say u dot name, by default is ascending order, so don't have to explicitly say it. So if you see here, we got the result: Elvis 450 and Lee, Bob, Jonathan, Alex, and Alice. So we are missing the last Alice, which is number 4, because we are using the inner join. As we explained before, inner join will get all the records which matches with the user. So if the record is not in the rights, that means those users will get filtered. So if I want to bring in the users who don't have a distance, then better you show a left join. If you put a left join, I got Alice, okay, but it's showing us null. We have to show it as a 0. So what should I do? I can simply say coalesce function. Coalesce, if the value is null, then replace it with 0. If I run this, the Alice value becomes 0. And the next one is, we have only the name, we don't have the ID. So if you remove this ID, then you have only one. So if I remove this in the group by, let's see what happens. So we have the same record, right? Elvis, Lee. Do you see any difference? The last Alice is missing because the name is unique, right? Like it should be unique, but it's not the case. We have 2 Alice. So when you group by, then both the Alice combine to form one record. Since this is 0, it just adds up to 120. So the numbers are not changing, but we are missing one user. So we should not show ID, but we have to split the name based on the ID. So what should I do? I still keep the group by user ID. Okay. So if I do that, we don't have that column in the select statement, but still the report will be grouped based on the ID and the name. So in that way, the Alice which got different ID will be split into different rows. Since it's 0 is the last and Elvis is the highest, so it goes in the top. So these are things I want to note. first thing is what join you use, right? So whether it's going to be inner join or left join. So if we use inner join, we miss this user who don't have a right. So we went to the left join. So when you do a left join, we have to see which is the primary table. Is user the primary table or rights the primary table? Since we want the right for all the users, then we use user as the primary table. So it's in the left side and rights in the right side. And then aggregation, since we use name which can have a duplicate, we can't group only by the name. So we have to bring the unique identifier u.id. And then we have to sort based on the descending order. So we just put descending and then the name part of it. And I can just say 2 here, but since I'm using the UID which is not there in select statement, I don't want to confuse the SQL. So I just put the proper column name, and descending is explicitly we mentioned that, and u.name is ascending order. It implies by default is ascending order. So these are the stories behind this question. So if you want to get the create statement and the SQL, then you can go to the YouTube channel. In the video list, this will be in the advanced SQL 50 question series, right? So this will have a description section. You have the GitHub link. So every video will have the corresponding GitHub link in the description part. So we are talking about 8th video, right? So that video will have this link, which got the create statement of the user and the rights and the expected output, and what is the SQL we discussed here, the coalesce function, the left join, and the group by. Here I put 1. I haven't mentioned the column name, right? You put the numbers, that's okay. So this is the script. You can use that for your practice. If you want to join the WhatsApp channel, there is a link here. You can use this and join Grow with Data WhatsApp channel. Hope you like this video, and thanks for watching.